Welcome to Game Nights with JR. I'm JR, and I'm here to introduce you to the feature games that will be at our February game nights and game days, because this month we have a special board games and brunch event for the first time. So, no matter when you're playing games in February, here's what they're going to be. And if you can't tell from Yoda over there and from my Barbie Po-Oh, we're going to be doing a little bit of a love theme in February, because after all, this is the holiday where we celebrate St. Valentine. And, whether you think it's too corporate or whatever, it's always a good excuse to celebrate love being in the air. I'm also excited for February because we're introducing a brand new idea called speed gaming. More on that in just a minute. And first, let's look at our first featured games. First up is one of the brand new games I've gotten called Love Struck. I know a couple of you have gotten to play it at some preview events already, and it's already proven to be a big hit. But Love Struck is a secret identity game. So if you've ever played something like Avalon or Secret Hitler, you know the premise behind Love Struck, where you have a role you're trying to keep secret, and you're trying to end the game without anyone discovering who you are. The twist in Love Struck is that everyone is a contestant on a trashy reality dating show, something like Too Hot to Handle or Love Island or something like that. And so you're either here for the right reasons, which means you're here to find true love, or you're here for the wrong reasons, which means you're here to become insta famous. And at the end of the game, whoever is in a couple with someone for the right reasons wins. So if you're someone who's trying to find love and you're there with someone else trying to find love, congratulations, you win. If you're just trying to get insta famous and you end up there with someone who's trying to find love, congratulations, you also win, and you're kind of a jerk. So yeah, this game is played over 10 rounds. Each of the rounds is an episode on the reality show. And again, just like all of those other hidden identity games, you're trying to put in different cards. These cards are either love cards or drama cards. And you're always trying to keep the drama on the show from exceeding 10 million viewers, because that way the game automatically ends and people who are there for the wrong reasons win. What makes Love Struck really extra fun is the persona cards. These cards don't actually add any mechanical impact to the game. They are purely there for role playing purposes, and they really help people get into character. In fact, I've even started bringing extra name tags to play Love Struck, so you can give yourself a name that you feel matches your persona if you want. So you might end up being the person who's over 30, or the person who's not over their ex, or the party animal, or the foreigner. As you can see, there's tons of these, and they all add a little extra, uh, basically, flavor to the game. They make it easier for you to role play. In case the idea of asking a stranger to couple up with you seems a little bit weird, these make it a lot easier to just kind of enjoy the game and not get too hung up on the coupling up and stuff. So I've played Love Struck 5 or 6 times now, and it's always an absolute hilarious time. A lot of our hidden identity games have proven to be really popular at Game Nights with JR, and I think this one's going to be a big hit in February. So I can't wait to play Love Struck with you. I know some of you are saying, JR, trashy reality TV, come on, that seems like it's really making a joke out of love. We want something more old fashioned. Well, in that case, I have just the game for you. It's called Marrying Mr. Darcy. And yes, this is Pride and Prejudice, the game. It's based on the Jane Austen novel, and it is hilarious. Each person plays as one of the women from Pride and Prejudice, and you are trying to attract the best suitor. This is a card game where you're playing different cards that affect your ability to attract different desirable grooms. Each of the potential suitors has certain things that they prefer, like wit or charm or beauty or things like that. And so you're, playing cards in front of you to enhance those things. You're also playing cards against other characters to call them out in front of a party or something like that. If you've read Pride and Prejudice, this game is a really hilarious and faithful adaptation. Maybe like me, you've only read Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. It still works really well. It's a lot of fun to play. And it's got a good set of mechanics. It's really easy to pick up. And, you're all fighting over who can attract the best suitor. It's got the same sort of wit and satirical attitude towards dating that Jane Austen's original novel has. and I think you'll really enjoy it. Again, even if like me, you're not super familiar with the source material. But for people that I know who either are big fans of the film adaptations or who are big fans of the novel, this game has proven to be a huge hit. So look for Mary and Mr. Darcy at our February game nights. Everyone knows that relationships rise and fall on great communication, and that's where Wavelength comes in. Wavelength is our party game this month, and it is a really clever twist on something like an apples to apples or something like that. So let me show you how it works. Everyone in Wavelength who is the judge for their team has to get a card that has a spectrum on it. So this one, for instance, says enemy to friend. And then you get the Wavelength spinner. So you can see it has like a little like a range on here. It says 4, 3, 2, and with it closed, you have to spin the outside to try to get it somewhere, and then without showing your team, you open it up. So I want to try to get my team to guess somewhere on the line between friend and enemy right here with this closed. So I would have to think of a clue that would get them to guess that the spinner is like just a little more towards enemy than friend. So maybe I would say something like frenemy, or maybe I would say something, something like that. And then you hand this to your team like this, closed. Then they have to debate and they have to decide based on the clue I gave, where would they put this? And maybe because I said frenemy, right? They're going to say, oh, like right at halfway between. Okay, boom. And then they open it up to reveal what happened. And in this case, they would get 3 points. Right there, you can see 3 points. And so then they would mark that, and then it would go to the other team. Sorry, a little earthquake there. The other team. And you just kind of keep going back and forth, taking clues. What's fun about this game is there's really no right answer or wrong answer, and you're not necessarily looking for something objective. You're trying to figure out what's in the other person's head. And just like if you've played something like Codenames and you've been the clue master, and it's crazy when you hear people start debating your clues. Like one time I had hot versus cold, and I said like a volcano because it was way over here, and I was like, that's like the hottest thing, right? And then they were like, well, the interior of the sun is 100,000 degrees Fahrenheit, so we're gonna think volcanoes like somewhere over here. And I was like, I mean, they're right, but I was just thinking about stuff on Earth. So anyway, that's what makes this game fun, right? Is you have the team trying to guess, and then you have everyone arguing over how bad my clue was when it's done with that. This is a super fun game. It's really easy to keep score, but again, it's one of those games that you don't even necessarily need to keep score if you don't want to. It's fun to just kind of go back and forth, and everyone take turns being the clue giver and all of that. So really looking forward to playing Wavelength. It's one that always elicits lots of laughs, lots of groans. And, if you don't want to give clues, you don't have to. It's really easy to just kind of play as part of the teams as well. So it's really kind of a game that has something for everyone. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. So those first three games are sort of what I've been thinking of for February as our big feature games. Now I want to introduce you to this idea that one of our patrons came up with, Felicia, for specifically the month of February. It's called speed gaming. And yeah, it's a riff on speed dating. So if you've ever done speed dating or, seen it on a show or something like that, you know that you go into a room, there's a whole bunch of people. The idea is you meet a whole bunch of people in a very short amount of time. So you just go from table to table, you all sort of get like 5 minutes to interact with each other. We're going to do something a little different because, again, while we are big fans of love here at Game Nights with JR, game nights are not a place where we're trying to create love connections. We're just trying to make friends. And so we have a bunch for speed gaming, a bunch of short, like 20-ish minute games, and we're going to have several of them set up throughout the room. So the idea is you can come play these games. They're pretty short. Learning them and everything is going to take you less than 30 minutes, and then you can switch up your game. So hopefully you're going to be playing a lot of different games, meeting a lot of different new people as we go throughout the nights. So I want to introduce you to five of our speed dating games, and then the last one is going to be the one that our patrons are choosing for our player's choice this month. So you'll find out what that is when you show up to your first February game night. But here are the 5 speed dating games that I'm for sure bringing. First is a really cool little game called Mindspace. This is sort of a puzzle mixed with Tetris game where each person is drafting shapes, like Tetris shapes, out of the middle of the board, and then you actually have to draw them on your own board. And they're different colors, and based on the color and the shape, you get different scores throughout the game. So it's a breezy little game. It doesn't take very long, and it really scratches that sort of puzzle solving itch. There's not a ton of player on player action. It's mainly just drafting, so you might take a shape that I was wanting or something like that. But other than that, there's not a ton. This is a really cool little game. It's not like many other games I've ever played, and it's really fun. So I think you'll really enjoy getting to know some people over Mindspace. Everyone knows that in the dating world, fashion is really important. You want to look good on your date. And so I figured a fashion game would be a lot of fun. And this is Couture. It's an auction style game where you're going to various different fashion shows and trying to put together the best look. So again, it's really fun. It's a simple little game to learn. And it makes you feel pretty. And I think that's important when you're trying to find love, right? Next up is another one of my favorites, and it's one that has been on our bonus games table at game night, so I know several of you have played it. It's called That's Pretty Clever. This is a dice rolling game in the vein of Yahtzee or something like that. It's a roll and write where you're rolling and then, marking on a score sheet. But the trick here is that there are six differently colored dice, and each individual color of die has a different way of scoring points on your score sheet. So it's a drafting game. Whereas if I'm the active player, I'm rolling and choosing dice. And then once I'm done choosing all of my dice, the other players get to choose one from my leftover pile. And then the next player gets to go and they get to choose the majority of the dice, and so on and so on. You play, depending on how many people you're playing with, you play anywhere from 4 to 6 rounds. It goes really quickly, and it's one of those games that as soon as you finish it, you want to play it again because you realized a better way to do a strategy or something like that. It goes really fast. It's a lot of fun, and there's just enough player aggression to really irritate you when someone takes the die that you were really counting on. This also the really fun part of this is that it's like a combo builder. So once you get to round three or round four, you draft that yellow die, and then when you put it on your score sheet, that unlocks something in the green row, and then once you do that, it unlocks something in the purple row, which then they get you another blue die, and so you can kind of create these chain combos that just feel incredibly satisfying. So that's pretty clever. As you can see, it's German. Ganz schön clever. It's really fun, super cool, a little mechanic. You'll definitely want to play this more than once. Now, if you're a patron, you've seen that I have listed in the patron for January trick taking card games. I'm a big fan of them. So I did sort of an introduction to trick takers, and then I listed my 5 favorite trick takers. Our room didn't make the list only because it's brand new. This is a game where we play as alchemists and you're collecting different kinds of precious metals. The sort of shtick in this one, or the twist in this one, is that if I play a certain color, you can't. And so being able to play cards or not comes in big when you're trying to make your bid. And who hasn't always wanted to turn different metals into gold, right? That's the alchemist dream. And Arun sort of lets you capture that a little bit. Again, it's a quick game. It's a fun little trick taker. So if you know spades or hearts or something like that, you're going to pick this one up no problem. But it's really easy enough that even if you're not a big fan of trick takers, you'll probably enjoy this one for speed gaming. Our last speed gaming pick is another brand new game from Pandasaurus Games called Courtesans. And in this one, you're playing cards trying to raise or lower the prestige of various noble houses who are gathered around the queen's table. Then at the end of the game, you score based on the noble houses that you have and how much prestige or how little esteem they have at the end of the game. So, how you play affects not only your court, but also the other players' courts. So there's a lot of groans, a lot of jeers, a lot of strategy going on in this game, and it plays so fast that you really want to play it again to try to get your nobles to have the most esteem that they possibly can. Maybe should have paired this one a little bit more closely with Mary and Mr. Darcy, but hey, maybe we'll put them next to each other at game nights. So there you have it. I hope you're excited about the February games. I hope you're excited about the speed gaming idea, playing a bunch of shorter games really quickly. And then, of course, we still have the longer party type games that are guaranteed to be a big hit. If you are a patron, make sure you vote on what the player's choice game is and check out the trick taking videos that we put up for last month as well. Really excited about the February games. We have a brunch event for the first time. We've also got tons more events loaded up. So make sure you check out the website, or if you're on Meetup, make sure you check us out there. Of course, would love for you to like and subscribe to this video so you don't miss any of more of our updates as well. For February's special videos, we're going to be talking about worker placement games, what they are, why I like them so much. And then, of course, if you're in the Patreon, you'll get my 5 favorite worker placement. So stay tuned to all of that. Cannot wait to see you at our February gaming events, and we will be playing together soon.